Some birthdays mark another year of life. Others mark the end of it. And in one forgotten corner of England, there's a family whose children never saw 13 candles on a cake. Not because they died, but because they simply never grew up. This is the macabre history of the 12th birthday and the family that never grew up. Greymont Hall, built in 1821 by the Darnell family, one of those wealthy Victorian bloodlines that believed money could outlast mortality. And maybe, in a way, it did. For over a century, villagers whispered about the children of Greymont, who laughed, sang, and played in the same gardens for decades, and somehow never aged past 12. At first, people blamed the paintings. Dozens of portraits hung in the long gallery, each depicting the same 3 children: a girl with a red ribbon, a boy with freckles, and a smaller child with pale hair and empty eyes. Generations passed, but every time a guest returned, the faces in those frames looked exactly as they remembered, untouched by time. No one ever saw a 13th birthday celebrated at Greymont. Not once. And when someone finally asked why, the Darnell family stopped answering the door. In 1976, a historian named Eleanor Hale visited the estate. She was writing a book on Victorian obsessions with youth. But the Darnell family archives, they caught her eye for another reason. Among the records of charity balls and estate renovations, there was a gap. No birth records, no school enrollments, nothing for any Darnell child beyond age 12. Every child's life stopped, on paper, just before their 13th birthday. Not dead, not missing, just paused. So Eleanor went to Greymont Hall herself. The estate had been sealed for decades, ivy choking the windows, vines creeping up the stone like veins. But the caretaker, an old man named Pearson, let her in. He said he didn't go upstairs anymore, not since the laughter started coming from the nursery again. He told her, "You'll hear them too. Just don't answer when they call your name." Inside, Greymont Hall felt like a photograph someone forgot to develop. Rooms preserved mid-breath, teacups on silver trays, a rocking horse still swaying, though no one had touched it. And those portraits. She realized they weren't just paintings. They were records. Every decade, the artist's signature changed, but the faces remained identical. Eleanor touched one of the frames, the little boy's with the freckles, and a fine layer of dust fell away, revealing a fresh signature beneath, dated 1912. 1912, the year the Darnell twins, Clara and James, were said to have disappeared. That night, the manor's clocks struck 12, and Eleanor swore she heard someone whisper right beside her ear, "Don't forget the candles." The next morning, she explored the dining room, a table set for 6, silver polished, chairs perfectly aligned, and in the center, a cake, 12 candles, melted down but not burned. The wax looked fresh. She found a note on the table written in an elegant, looping hand. For the twins, always 12, forever ours. Underneath it, a dried flower pressed flat and a strand of red ribbon like the one in the portraits. Eleanor's recorder picked up something faint in the background. Not wind, not rats, but voices. Children's voices, singing something soft, almost like a lullaby. The tape ended with her whispering, "They're here." Later that day, Eleanor discovered the source of the manor's heartbeat. A hall filled with clocks, wall clocks, pocket watches, even grandfather clocks. Every single one stopped at 12:12. The air was thick with dust, but she noticed footprints, small ones, circling the clocks in patterns like children playing Ring Around the Rosie. She followed them to a door at the end of the hall, the nursery. Inside were toys, dollhouses, and a set of 3 beds, neatly made. On the bedside table lay a photo album, but the photos weren't still. Each showed the children, smiling, waving, then slowly turning their heads toward her as she flipped the pages, her breath caught. Because in the last photo, a 4th figure had appeared. It was her, standing right behind them. Eleanor dropped the album and stumbled back. The children's laughter filled the room now, surrounding her, bouncing off the walls. She turned to leave, but the door had vanished. Only the mirror remained. And in it, 3 smiling children stared back, their reflections perfectly still. When midnight comes, the Darnell children always get their wish. The mirror didn't show Eleanor as she was. It showed her as she would be. Her reflection stood slightly shorter, younger, her face smoother, softer, 12 years old. The children beside her in the glass didn't blink, didn't breathe. They smiled. Behind her reflection, the nursery shifted, walls subtly closing in, colors warming, becoming brighter, happier. A room prepared for childhood, and nothing beyond it. Eleanor reached up and touched the glass. It was warm, not cold like a mirror should be. From behind her, a voice whispered, gentle, rehearsed, practiced over centuries. "You're early." She spun around. The caretaker, Pearson, stood in the doorway that had not existed moments ago. His posture was straighter now, his eyes clearer, younger than before. "You lied," Eleanor said. "You said you didn't come up here." Pearson smiled sadly. "I don't," he replied. "Not anymore." Pearson led Eleanor downstairs into a sitting room untouched by decay. A fire burned. Tea steamed. On the wall hung a massive family tree, hand-painted, names branching outward, but every branch ended the same way. Age, 12. No deaths recorded, no adulthood, no endings. The Darnells believed adulthood was corruption, Pearson explained. Pain, loss, rot. He pointed to a date etched into the frame. December 12th, 1844. The first 12th birthday, he said. The first wish. That night, the children had begged not to grow up, and their parents, terrified of loss, had agreed. The ritual was simple. Candles, a vow, and time paused. But there was a price. For every child who stays 12, Pearson said quietly, someone else must take their place. Eleanor felt cold spread through her chest. Take their place? How? Pearson didn't answer. He only gestured toward the long gallery. The portraits were different now. There were more of them. Children Eleanor didn't recognize. Faces from different eras, different clothing styles, different decades. All 12 years old, all smiling. And slowly, almost politely, one empty frame at the end of the gallery began to darken. Paint seeped into it like blood into fabric. Eleanor stepped closer. The outline formed first, then the face. Her face. You're not stealing children, she whispered. You're replacing them. Pearson nodded. The house needs witnesses, he said, caretakers, archivists, believers. The family never grew up, Eleanor said. They just kept recruiting. Behind them, the clock struck 12. Not once, but 12 times. The dining room was alive. Candles burned. Chairs scraped back. Plates clinked. Children sat at the table. Real, solid, laughing. The twins, Clara and James, sat at the head, unchanged since 1912. They looked at Eleanor with practiced excitement. "You're the guest," Clara said. "You make the wish." Eleanor backed away. "No," she said, "I won't." James tilted his head. "You already did," he replied. The candles leaned toward her. The flames stretched unnaturally long. "You wish to know the truth," Clara said, "and the truth always costs something." The room grew warmer. Her recorder began playing on its own. Her own voice echoed back to her from earlier that day. "I just want to understand." The children smiled wider. Pearson appeared beside her one final time. "You can leave," he said, "but someone must stay." The children began chanting softly, 12 forever, 12 forever, 12 forever. Eleanor looked at the portraits, at the empty frame waiting for her, at the children who had never known grief or growth or endings. She thought of her own childhood, what she had lost by growing older, what she had gained. "No," she said firmly, "they deserve to finish growing." The chanting stopped. The flames wavered. For the first time, fear crossed the children's faces. Pearson closed his eyes. "I was hoping you'd say that," he whispered. The house groaned. The portraits cracked. The clocks screamed. The manor didn't collapse. It corrected itself. Paintings aged rapidly. Faces wrinkled. Smiles fell. Children screamed, not in fear, but in shock as time rushed in all at once. The twins aged before Eleanor's eyes. Teens, adults, elderly, then dust. The candles burned down to nothing. The clocks resumed ticking normally, one by one. Pearson aged too. He smiled as he turned to ash. "Thank you," he said. Silence followed. Greymont Hall was demolished in 1978. Officially, it was declared structurally unsound. No bodies were found, no records recovered. But in a small local museum, there hangs a single painting salvaged from the rubble. A woman, early 30s, standing alone. Beneath it, a plaque reads, "Eleanor Hale, archivist." Visitors say the strangest thing about the painting is that every year, she looks a little younger. Some families fear death, others fear growing up. And some houses remember your wish forever.